Yo, what's up everybody? We are back at it again with Diablo 4 because the season 4 starts in 2 days from this video. And today I'm gonna show you the build I decided to go with on my Barbarian for leveling side. So this is gonna be upheaval with charge, both for AoE, covering AoE because we're gonna be leveling I would say mostly in Helltide and the Nightmare Dungeons, so it's a lot of mobs, a lot of AoE, especially now when they buffed Helltides, it's gonna be some great stuff. So we want something to cover a lot of AoE, but also to move fast, which is why we have a charge. And I'm going over the aspects now, so we got a Might here for damage reduction for basic skills. Here we got Undying, which is the heal. So for sustain, both of these, we might not even need it in Helltides because mobs are going to be squishy, but there is nothing else to put on there anyway. So next we got Ancestral Charge. The reason why I went with this, by the way, this build, I will transition this build into full Ancients build as well, because there is a huge change coming into Season 4, and that is all the companions from these 4 classes, Necromancer, Barbarian, Druid, and Sorcerer, will receive 100% of your stats. So that's a full scale from companions, which also goes for Ancients. And there is also another thing, which is for later. Not only there is a new unique item with these for these ancients, but there is also a change to these ancients where they deal more damage. Let me quickly try to find it. Get ancient here. This double change, and I believe it's right there. I call the ancients, which we don't really run right now, but it's very optional. We could probably ignore Changing Shout and go with this, but it's just for a later build. Anyways, we got this. We got the pants here for damage reduction from bleeding. We do have bleed source from our talents, and we will have bleeding reduction probably from Paragon board as well. We got Metamorphosis. I really like this one because it's unstoppable, so there is very little uptime on you being CC'd, like you won't really get CC'd with this aspect here. I really recommend going for max evade charges. They also kind of changed that, because before it was only +2, now it's +3, as you can see right here. So that's some good stuff. This could be also pretty good, the cooldown reduction on evade, but I think I like the max evade charges. On the weapons here, we are focusing also on Dust Devils, which is the kit we will get for this season as a preset of the build. So Fierce Winds, that's why I'm running 3 shouts, but once again, Challenging Shout is optional. You can do whatever skill you want to go for, like all the Ancients I just showed, could be pretty good, but you get shouts here for Dust Devils. On other 200, I'm a sucker for attack speed. This attack speed also goes over the cap, which doesn't really bother us while leveling because we won't be able to reach the cap anyway. And you could also, if you don't really like that much attack speed, this by the way is 50% on 200, not 25. Because aspects, as you can see, are doubled on 200s. You could change it with Brawler, for example. I picked this one for the AoE clear. This is amazing aspect for charge. But we will all see what's the cooldown reduction now in charge, since they also nerfed it. I'll show you here. They buffed Leap, so Leap will be my endgame option, but endgame pick. Charge here got nerfed with the cooldown reductions, but maybe on purpose because we have now something called Tempering. Also, have crafting video, which you can check up top in the right corner, and we will be able to get cooldown reduction extra on these skills. So I went with this Explosions. It's really great, especially with Sork in a group where you get Fireball enchantment from the Sork, and it's also exploding on mobs dying, so it goes hand in hand, really good. Edgemaster here, I wasn't sure which one to go for because Edgemaster does not buff Dust Devils, but it will buff our Upheaval and our Charge, so why not, right? For the rings, I went with Relentless Arm Master because I am doing something different than most. I'm going with a Walking Arsenal, because I really like when they added 20% attack speed on top of all the damage there. So I'll be trying this one out. That's why you see 3 skills. I'm gonna put dual wield on Lunging Strike to have, faster attacks for generating if you need that. Charge with 200 slashing, and I will probably 200 bludgeoning. And other ring aspect, we have Bolt Chieftain for cool shout reduction, obviously. If you don't have this one, you can go with like Fury from Berserk. Let me see, we got utility, resource. You could go for Berserk Fury here, or you could go for, which they changed, the one that gives you resource right here, Vocalized Empowerment. So it kind of depends which one to go for. And then another Dust Devil aspect. So we're trying to run all the Dust Devil aspects on our big pieces, which is 200 and Amulet. I could probably put this Devilish on 200 and Accelerating on Amulet. I think I will actually do that right now, Devilish. I think I liked it better. I just thought about it yesterday when I was falling asleep, and now I changed it. We saved the build. I will also be streaming all that on live on Twitch. You can see in here is the channel, and also stream on YouTube, so you will see that too. The gems here, I went with all res here because we don't really know how lucky we will be with affixes. That's why I didn't put any stats on the items, because you really have no clue what you're gonna get on your leveling journey, right? I only put the tempering aspects or the tempering stuff on the gear, which you want to go for. So I'll pick challenging shout cooldown reduction, because later on, I believe in armor dungeons and all that, we could we could, you know, clear it faster. Like having the highest uptime, the best uptime challenging shout will be pretty good. Not only for the damage reduction, but also for the fury. That's also a good generator. Every time you take damage, you get 3 fury. And if you have any resource generation on the gear, it's gonna get amplified by that. So that's very good stuff. We got stun duration. Didn't really know what to pick there instead of this one, but I think this one is the best. You can go with concussion with stun maybe, but Abival stuns itself as an upgraded skill, so damage to close, I try to stack that as much as possible. More challenging shout on pants. Oh, by the way, sorry. Excuse me, this is the headpiece, challenging shout, chest piece as well. Challenging shout. Second tempering stat, really up to you. You could go with stun duration or concussion. Again, it depends what kind of manuals we will be getting from drops or the quest line from Iron Wolves. We don't really know. I just put some like the crucial ones. It sounds to me like could be like a default, a basic manual we could get maybe. A charge cooldown on Amulet, which is the new one on top of Brawling cooldown reduction. So this is going to even raise the cooldown of Warcry, which is really good for the shout uptime because of this aspect. Fierce wins for more Dust Devils, right? And also the berserking and damage from the shout itself. And our charge cooldown on the boots with stun duration. Pants changing shouts and stun duration again. We get rings here, which we put Brawling cooldown reduction. You cannot put charge here for some reason. Just like on amulets, you cannot do it here as you can see. So I went with Brawling. You could go Warcry, is not that good either. So yeah, on both rings we go with this one. On weapons we go for chance to double spawn Dust Devils. This is doubled on 200, so it's 50%. So for our chance is 100%. You could go with size if you want on one-handers, but I did pick Abival size because if that gets buffed, if the skill gets buffed at AoE, it's really nice AoE. It's really nice coverage on the screen. So if I feel like the Dust Devils are not as, like, it lacks in the size, that's what she said, I might change it to Dust Devil size because it does go well with Fierce Winds once again. I think it also applies to this one. Your Dust Devils are bigger and deal increased damage for 1% of their size increase. I'm not sure if this increased damage is for the size from this aspect itself or if it does apply to weapon size as well. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, honestly. So we'll see about that. I might go like one size on the two-hander and just one chance here. But we shall see about that. I'll have this in the link description as well, so you guys can see in details. And I will link the video here as well. But the skill tree, we go with Lunging Strike just because of the mobility. We're gonna need to move a lot in Helltide. Abival here upgraded for Berserking. Since we don't run Unconstrained, try to pick some Berserk duration as well in Paragon nodes. So I'm trying to look for Berserk source everywhere. Next up, we get Changing Shout. Probably not needed as much early on, so you could probably leave it for like later in the game, like in World Tier 3 and forward. So you can utilize other stuff before. This is the Bleed Source, Tough as Nails, to get that damage reduction from mobs. It's more like endgame. Max HP, very good stuff. Rolling Cry for that sweet generation and movement speed, and just unstoppable from the shout. War Cry for the classic damage increase and berserking. We got a duration of shouts and then some passive heal, which is pretty good. I find this one really good. Charge for full upgrades for cooldown reduction, and also the cooldown reduction here, the power charge, which also got nerfed, but I still think it's gonna be fine, especially with ancients running if you can get the aspect from the gloves I just showed you. Then in here we go for generation even more so. I think it might be a bit overkill on Fury generation from the aspect and this one, so not sure. And then once more the trigger, Berserk trigger from charge. Might put 2 points into damage reduction if needed. Movement speed for mobility once again. Then we got 45 stuff, 45 damage increase, and we got damage reduction from 45. This is more linked to Warbringer board that I have as a 5th one or 4th one, so you could probably leave this one for later, unless you can get an aspect like all this stuff. Like we could probably drop Might and go like Numbing Wrath. You could totally do that. if you get the aspect, which is actually droppable from a dungeon, Heathen's Keep, so you can totally do this one if you want. So you can utilize these passives earlier, probably good actually, before we get to Warbringer. Pit Fighter, I like this one because it's 2 in 1 node. You deal more damage, and you also have DR, damage reduction. Since we also stack close damage from the tempering on items on the gear, here we get some weapon swap, Fury. Once again, we are using Walking Arsenal. This gives you 30% damage increase. Sorry. Dealing direct damage, the will increase grants 10% damage for the... Yeah, it's 30%, my bad. It's 30% increased damage and 20% attack speed. Now, Upheaval has quite slow animation, and, you know, stacking everything for Upheaval for attack speed, in my opinion, is the best for Upheaval. That's where it really shines, so that's why I picked this one. And I think it's going to be really powerful as well, better than Unconstrained. Because, like, Blood Rage got nerfed as well. The 3 points I'm missing is Valop. I would really like to put 3 points in here and damage increase. So I might shuffle some points around. Like, if our, for example, if our Fury resource is good, we could drop 3 points in here and put them in Valop, or 3 points in here and put them in Valop, right? Could totally do that. Or even heavy-handed for crit damage, but you kind of need gear for this one to be good. Going over Paragon board, starting off the first glyph, we got exploit for vulnerable. Also, there is a way to put on rings. There is a new stat. You can put vulnerable, a lucky hit. I will try to find it real quick. Yeah, right here. Lucky hit, chance to make enemies vulnerable for 20 seconds. I believe this one goes to up to 50%. So it's not 50% chance itself. Lucky hit works a bit different. It's way less than that, but it would still be good since we are going to be doing a lot of AoE damage. So it would have a higher chance to proc if you know what I mean. So it could be pretty good. But early on, I went with this one. I tried to go for as much HP stacking as possible, the nodes. Later on, you will see. This was the first board. Next up, we got the Blood Rage, which got nerfed. This legendary node, it's up to 30% now, but it's still very good. I tried to pick some duration as well for Berserking here as well. But yeah, Berserking nodes, try to focus on as many as you can. And then the second glyph, we got Twister. I really like this board, because it has a lot of points in strength. I did miss one strength here because, like, you know, sacrificing extra 2 points for one here. Yeah, I just went with this one. 65 out of 40. There's another board that has a lot of strength nodes. I will show it later, I think. I also tried to go for a little bit of fire resistance because on PTR it was a bit of a problem, even though they buffed resistances on gear. But I like to do some of that stuff right here. Second board we got is a legendary, so Carnage for another attack speed. If you don't really feel like this is good, you can put those points away and put them somewhere else, like some extra resistance here for cold, so I don't have to waste it on an item, for example. But yeah, we got the Berserking here, even duration. I'm a big fan of this one. You could like change these two, but I think the duration is gonna be great. Another glyph here is Marshall for the Shout Cooldown reduction. This one got nerfed as well, but I think it's still gonna be great. Magic Note increase is to buff our DR with close damage and also our Berserking damage. I should probably put 2 points in this one since we have Marshall, so I'll probably reduce some points and put 2 here because that will be a waste. Next board we got Warbringer just for the legendary node to secure us a 45. Since Upheaval is pretty expensive skill, it costs 40 Fury, so pretty good stuff. And on the way, I picked some more max HP right here, 6%, good stuff, and max Fury, which is not that great. You go other way for Fury on kill, but I really like the max HP. But you could totally go the other way, rotate the board. Next up, we have is Bonebreaker. I went for this one mainly for the attack speed here. Sorry, for max HP. Like there's a lot of max HP. We get some 45 from 45 damage reduction. They also buffed this one, and now it's 15% and as a base, as a default damage reduction. And I feel like DR45 is gonna be really great in endgame in that pit. I also like the healthy DRs. Overall, this is my favorite board because like 150 tier plus from pit is going to be like Avatar of Zero from season 2, tier 25. So that will be the hardest content yet to be released in D4. And I'm not gonna wait. Glyph we got is Wrath for that Fury generated crit strikes, 3 Fury, gets amplified by Resist generation. And some crit damage, why not, right? Especially if you can get your hands on Grandfather, if you're RNG Gouts. Bless ya, you can combine it with that pretty easily. Last board is a Decimator. gonna make our damage higher when we make enemies vulnerable. So I really recommend the lucky hit on the ring. I feel like it's gonna be a great affix on the ring. If you have extra points, you can get even more HP here, 6%, some good stuff. And last glyph, we have territorial. They buffed the DR. It used to be 10%, now it's 15. And I feel like since we're stacking close damage, affixes from or tempering from weapons could be really good with the glyph here. And yeah, some extra vulnerable damage and DR vulnerable, it's pretty good. So not too shabby. And this is also the strength board where you could probably put twisters here as well, but I always like to put anything that buffs magic notes on Carnage board just for the DR. You will see we are gonna need a lot of DRs in the pit, I'm pretty sure. Requirements for extra rare nodes is impossible to reach because the only way how to get the off stats is through gems. Actually, forgot to finish my gems, but as you can see here, the green one on armor is dexterity, this one is max HP and stuff like that, right? This one is intelligence, willpower, and we got strength on the purple one, so it's the only way how to reach that. But weapons, we get vulnerable damage. I think I like that one. You could go with great damage, up to you, but I think vulnerable for now is fine. On armor, we go with max life, like 9% max life for one gem is really cracked. I'm not sure if this is right value, but it will be, that's pretty insane. So with this setup, we're gonna be looking I want to say close to 100,000 HP, even maybe even more. Especially even more so with challenging shout, right? 20% bonus life, crazy stuff. 200x still for vulnerable even after the nerf. I don't know, like I was thinking at other ones, and I really like 200 mace. I really like what they did. So now the 200 mace will give you 15% crit damage while berserking. And with our build, we will probably perma berserking. So this is not too bad at all, especially with Grandfather. I think crit damage will be one of the best stats this season if you can get your hands on Grandfather. And even more so with Flawless Technique with crit damage. But yeah, this one got nerfed for 200x, and that's pretty much noticeable, the only thing noticeable. Polearm here, buffing Lucky Hit. I think this is still way too low number because Lucky Hit procs are horrible. And this damage while healthy is not too bad either. It's pretty alright. It's pretty alright. But yeah, that's why I want to go with the well, actually, I mean, this is almost similar, right? It's almost similar. But yeah, I think I'm not sure really, like this is expertise. I'm not sure what this will give as a technique. Maybe they mean technique, maybe not expertise but technique. We'll see about that. But 200x it is for now. Well, that was the Paragon board, and that's pretty much it. The rotation with this setup, you want to start off with shouts to trigger berserking with Warcry and Rallying Cry as well, or you can save Rallying Cry for when you need Unstoppable, because we're gonna get Unstoppable from charge. So this is your opener to reach to the mobs. You'll probably one-shot all mobs with charge in L-Tide. That will trigger Brawler Aspect. So if charge is a cooldown, you will just do upheaval between the lunging strike. And the cooldown on charge shouldn't be that high, even after the nerf to the passive, to the thingamajiggy. But yeah, this was pretty much it. Thank you everybody for watching. I will be live on stream as well with the new season. And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, have a good one, and peace.